Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something you might find interesting. It's about how Romania is handling the move to a more digital world, especially when it comes to taxes.
Oh, yeah. That's
We've got some fascinating stuff from the Romanian National Fiscal Administration's website, or AMF for short.
ANAF.
Yeah, and it really shines a light on the challenges and opportunities they're facing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting case study, I think, because it really reflects a global trend. I mean, countries all over the place are trying to modernize their tax systems, and Romania's approach with this new system called SFT,
Oh, that's hefty.
yeah, that's a standard audit file tax. It offers some valuable insights, I think.
Okay, so SFT, from what I understand, it requires businesses to send their tax information electronically in a very specific format. It seems like a big change, especially for those who aren't very tech savvy.
That's exactly the heart of the issue, I think. You think about those bustling marketplaces in Romania with vendors who've been doing business the traditional way for years, and suddenly they're being asked to adapt to a completely digital system. I mean, that can be a huge leap.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a real hurdle,
Yeah.
especially for older generations who might not be as comfortable with computers or the internet. What are some of the specific challenges they might face?
Well, first, there's the challenge of understanding the system itself, right? I mean, SAFT requires very detailed information in a specific format. It can be difficult for anyone to grasp, let alone someone who isn't used to working with computers. Then you've got the issue of gathering all the necessary digital information, receipts, invoices, everything needs to be in a digital format. And finally, there's the actual process of filing taxes online, which can be really intimidating for someone who's never done it before.
It's almost like learning a new language, wouldn't you say?
It is.
And if you're not fluent, it's easy to feel lost and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I imagine this shift to digital also impacts people beyond just taxes, right?
Absolutely. We're seeing it across the board. Think about accessing government services like healthcare or social benefits, or even staying informed about current events. More and more, these things require digital literacy.
So what happens to those who get left behind? It seems like a recipe for a digital divide where some people have access to all these opportunities and others are struggling to keep up.
That's the risk, and it's something that Romania is acutely aware of. That's why they're taking steps to provide support and resources to help people adapt. For instance, ANAF has a whole section on their website dedicated to helping people understand and use SAFT.
That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
Can you give us a peek into what kind of resources they're offering? What's available for people who might be feeling a bit lost in this new digital world?
Well, one of the key resources is something called the schema articles. Imagine it like a detailed blueprint for filling out the SAFT declaration. It guides you through each step, breaking down the process into manageable chunks.
That sounds helpful, especially for someone who might feel overwhelmed by the complexity of it all.
Exactly. And to further help ensure accuracy, they've also developed a tool called the validator. Think of it like a safety net. You can use it to check your SAFT file before submitting it, making sure everything is correct and reducing the chance of errors.
Okay, so the schema Excels helps you fill it out correctly, and the validator makes sure it's all good to go before you hit send. What happens if someone hits a roadblock, even with those resources? I mean, it's inevitable that some people will have questions or need more personalized guidance.
You're absolutely right, and ANOF has a solution for that as well. They've got a section dedicated to DUK validator updates. It addresses common questions and issues related to the validator tool, ensuring users have the most up-to-date information and troubleshooting tips.
It sounds like they're trying to cover all the bases.
hmm
But let's be honest, not everyone is comfortable doing everything online. Some people might need that face-to-face interaction to feel truly comfortable.
You've hit on a really important point, and ANF recognizes that. They offer in-person assistance at their offices where people can get help from trained staff.
That's great. So there's a safety net for those who need that extra bit of support. It's a huge transition, and it's good to know that they're not just throwing everyone into the deep end without a life preserver. I'm curious, though, are there any other resources they're providing? Anything that gives a more comprehensive overview of SFT and how it all works?
There is. ANF offers this comprehensive guide called Ghidul Contribuabilului Restructurat, which is the Restructured Taxpayer Guide. It dives deep into the SFT system, offering clear explanations and practical examples. It's a valuable resource for anyone who wants a deeper understanding of the system as a whole.
Sounds like ANF is really making an effort to make this transition as smooth as possible. But this is just one piece of the puzzle, right? This
Mm.
shift to digital is happening in so many aspects of life in Romania, not just taxes.
Absolutely. It's a much bigger conversation about digital inclusion and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to participate fully in this evolving world.
And that's a conversation we'll definitely be continuing in the next part of our deep dive. We'll be exploring the wider implications of this digital shift beyond just the realm of taxes. It's fascinating stuff.
I can't wait to dig into it. It's really important to understand how these changes are impacting everyday life in Romania.
Exactly. We'll be right back after a short break. So we've talked about the nuts and bolts of SAFT and some of the challenges people might face. But as you mentioned, this whole digital shift is much bigger than just taxes, right?
You're absolutely right. It's like a ripple effect, touching almost every aspect of life. Think about something as basic as staying informed about current events. As more and more news moves online, what happens to those who don't have easy access to the internet or the skills to navigate those online platforms?
Yeah, it's like a whole layer of knowledge and awareness is becoming inaccessible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that can have a real impact on people's ability to participate in society, make informed decisions, all sorts of things.
Exactly. And it's not just about staying informed. Imagine trying to access government services, things like healthcare information, social benefits, or even renewing a driver's license when everything is moving online.
I'd imagine that could be incredibly frustrating, even disenfranchising for those who aren't comfortable with technology. It almost creates a two-tiered system, doesn't it? Those who are connected and those who are left behind.
That's the danger, and it's something that policymakers in Romania and around the world are grappling with. The question is, how do you bridge that digital divide? How do you ensure that everyone has the opportunity to benefit from these advancements?
Well, we've seen that ANF is making an effort to help people adapt to SET. Are there any similar initiatives on a larger scale aimed at improving digital literacy across the country?
There are,
Yeah.
and some of them are quite impressive. Romania has this national strategy called Digital Romania, and it's pretty comprehensive. They're investing in expanding internet access, particularly in rural areas. They're also working on making internet services more affordable for low-income households.
So it's about addressing the infrastructure side of things, making sure people actually have the ability to connect in the first place. But access alone isn't enough, right? You also need to equip people with the skills to use the technology effectively.
Exactly. That's where digital literacy programs come in. Romania has been implementing various programs targeting different age groups and skill levels. They're offering courses at community centers, libraries, even online, covering everything from basic computer skills to internet safety and how to use different online platforms.
It sounds like a multifaceted approach, meeting people where they are and providing tailored support. It's almost like learning a new language. You wouldn't expect someone to become fluent overnight. It takes time, patience, and the right resources.
That's a great analogy. And it highlights the importance of not just focusing on the technical skills, but also on building confidence in digital fluency. Think about it. If someone's intimidated by technology, they're less likely to use it, even if they have access.
That makes perfect sense. It's about creating a comfortable learning environment where people feel empowered to explore and experiment without fear of judgment. It seems like there's a real emphasis on community involvement in these initiatives too.
You've picked up on something really important. It's not just a top-down approach. There's this vibrant ecosystem of NGOs and community organizations that are playing a key role in promoting digital inclusion. They often work directly with vulnerable communities, providing tailored support and resources.
Can you give us some examples of the amazing work these organizations are doing?
Absolutely. Some organizations focus on digital skills training for older adults, helping them stay connected with loved ones, access online services, and combat social isolation. Others work with people with disabilities, ensuring they have access to assistive technologies that allow them to participate fully in the digital world.
It's inspiring to see so many people dedicated to bridging this digital divide. It really highlights the importance of human connection and that sense of community. But I'm also curious about the individual stories behind these efforts. What do these changes actually look like for real people?
That's a great point. The data and statistics are important, but they don't always capture the human impact of these changes. To truly understand what's at stake, we need to hear the voices of those who are experiencing this digital transformation firsthand.
I couldn't agree more. It's the personal stories that really bring this issue to life and make it relatable.
And that's exactly what we're going to do in the final part of our deep dive. We'll be exploring some of these individual stories, showcasing both the challenges and the triumphs of navigating a world that's increasingly reliant on technology.
I'm really looking forward to hearing those stories. They're a powerful reminder that technology is just a tool. It's the human element, the way we use it to connect, learn, and empower each other that truly matters.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So stay tuned because we're about to delve into the heart of this digital revolution, the human stories that make it all so compelling.
We've talked about the big picture of Romania's digital shift, and it's clear that there are both challenges and opportunities. But now I'm really curious to hear those personal stories you mentioned, the ones that really show us what this transition looks like on the ground.
Yeah, it's those stories that really bring this whole conversation home. So let's meet Maria. She's a 7-year-old woman who runs a small bakery in a village just outside of Bucharest. Imagine the smell of fresh bread, the warm glow of the oven. She's been doing things the same way for years, and her customers love it.
It sounds like a picture-perfect scene, a true taste of tradition.
It is. But now imagine Maria receiving that notice from ANAF about the new Saf-t system. She's supposed to file her taxes online, but she's never even touched a computer before.
Oh, I can only imagine the feeling of panic that would set in. It's like being dropped into a completely foreign environment.
Exactly. And this is where having a support system becomes so crucial. Thankfully, Maria's daughter, who lives in the city and is quite tech savvy, steps in to help. She sits down with Maria, patiently explaining each step, demystifying the whole process.
It's heartwarming to hear that even in the face of these big changes, those family connections can make such a difference. It's not just about the technical know-how, but that emotional support too.
Absolutely. Having someone you trust to guide you through it all can make a world of difference. But let's switch gears for a moment and meet Andre. He's a young man living in a rural village in Transylvania.
Transylvania. Talk about a place steeped in history and legend. What's Andre's story?
Andre has always dreamed of starting his own business. But being in a remote village, he's had limited access to resources and information. Then a community center near him launches a program offering digital skills training and business mentorship.
Wow, it's amazing how a single program can open up so many possibilities. It's like a bridge to a whole new world.
That's exactly what it becomes for Andre. He dives into the program learning about everything from website design to online marketing and e-commerce. He even gets paired with a mentor who helps him develop a business plan.
So not only is he learning these technical skills, but he's also getting guidance on how to apply them to his dream.
Exactly. And what's really inspiring is that Andre's business isn't just about personal success. He starts selling handcrafted wooden toys inspired by Transylvanian folklore. So he's not only creating a sustainable income for himself, but also sharing a piece of his culture with the world.
That's fantastic. It's a win-win situation. He's achieving his goals, promoting his heritage, and potentially even inspiring others in his community to explore similar paths.
You got it. And that's what's so powerful about digital inclusion. It's not just about individual empowerment. It's about creating a ripple effect that benefits the entire community.
It's a reminder that technology can be a truly transformative force. But it's the human stories, the drive, and the ingenuity that make it truly meaningful.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Maria and Andre's stories are just two examples of the many ways Romanians are navigating this digital world. There are challenges, yes, but there's also a resilience and a determination to adapt and thrive.
And it sounds like there's a real sense of community, of people helping each other through this transition. That's incredibly heartening to hear.
It is. And it reminds us that as our world becomes increasingly digital, we need to approach these changes with empathy and a commitment to leaving no one behind.
Absolutely. It's been a fascinating deep dive into Romania's digital landscape. We've explored the policies, the challenges, and most importantly, the human stories that make it all so compelling.
I've enjoyed exploring this with you. It's a topic that deserves attention, not just in Romania, but globally.
And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of not just what's happening in Romania, but also the broader implications of digital inclusion. It's a conversation that's only going to become more relevant in the years to come.
So keep asking those questions, stay curious, and remember, knowledge is power, especially in a world that's constantly changing.
And until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.